Hello. Here we are again. A warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining this session. I'm so excited. We have a fun 30 minutes lined up for you. We'll be shifting gears today and talk about the art of blog writing, which you may have noticed has completely transformed with the advent of generative AI. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about how you can leverage AI to create all sorts of blogs in matter of minutes. And we'll also take you through a demonstration of Yarnit, which will enable you to do that. Now, during this webinar, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature to post those questions, and one of us will reply to it. I see some of you were here last week where we were discussing idea generation. I hope you got a chance to try out Yarnit and see the idea generation feature in action. For those of you who are attending our webinar for the first time, I'm Abhinav. I'm a co-founder of Yarnit. I also head artificial intelligence here. Yarnit, you may know, is a content marketing application which can be used for personalized content generation. You can ideate, write, design, publish, and even measure the performance of your content using Yarnit. And today, to talk everything about AI blog writing, we have JD, who's the CEO of Yarnit. He's an expert blogger himself. He writes blogs for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And today, he will demystify all of this for us. Hey, JD.
All right, thank you so much, Abhinav, for the introduction. Of course, writing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner might be too much, but I definitely love blogging. And certainly something that has helped me is AI, right? And then always used to struggle with ideas, struggle with the speed of creation, right? But I think generative AI is fun, right? It just makes things happen, right? Turns a lot of ideas that we used to have in our showers, etc., turns them into reality, right? But thank you, folks, for joining in. Really appreciate your time and spending the time with us. We'll try to keep it very, very short and also try to sort of pack in as much demonstration as possible so that you can also try your hands and get the best out of the platform. Let me sort of do a quick agenda of the meeting and then let's get started, right?
Are you going to share your screen, JD?
Yeah, I'm just doing that. Just give me a moment.
All right. Yeah, I can see the presentation now.
All right. So, quickly, I think what we broadly wanted to sort of talk about is, uh, you know, what are the different kind of templates that you have? What are the expert trained templates that Yarnit provides you today for you to sort of generate different kinds of blogs for different needs? The second thing is, how to write a blog with Yarnit, and this is where we'll probably go live, talk a lot about content instructions, professional power instructions, whatever you call it, blog editing and proofreading, because of course we all love the first generation from AI, but we'll probably want to sort of embellish that with a little bit of facts, a little bit of detail so that it also gets our own personal touch. And the last one will be just, a recap of idea generation, because, the starting point for any piece of content and specifically blog, a lot of that happens with keywords, a lot of that happens with ideas. And one thing that we cannot fall short of is ideas, right? So we'll do a quick recap of that as well. Now, just to sort of get the ball rolling, of course we can get into the demo and show you, but for some of you maybe already very initiated expert in blogging, right? But some of us may be new to this space, right? And for that, I just wanted to quickly touch upon, and why do we really care to blog, right? And why do we blog? If you look at that, principally, we are trying to do four things, right? Of course, it is really very, very important for awareness. Heard the term thought leadership. You need to sort of establish your brand as a thought leader in the specific domain, in the specific category. So it genuinely helps you increase your brand awareness. As you talk more about your brand and what you do, and also about how you solve your customer challenges, traffic is literally a byproduct of that. The second most interesting thing, and which is very, very relevant in digital marketing, is your SEO, right? You want your website to rank high in search engines, and one of the key vehicle to do that is certainly blogs, right? And this is where both the quality of the content, so how fresh, how new things are. Second, the quantity of how much you're writing, how present you are on your website certainly matters. The third thing, which is often not given enough credit, look, blogs are also used to educate your customers, inform your customers, and some of them may be write a how to blog around your product, around your service. You launch something new, introduce that through blog. The second part within the education and information part, if you see folks who have really aced the content marketing game, the likes of HubSpots of the world, they talk a lot about how did their customers use their product. How does that help for any prospective buyer, any prospective customer who is trying or is interested to learn about your product. They exactly get a framework to understand, hey, there is a customer like this, like me, and this is how exactly they are using it. So talking about case studies is again an important thing as part of your blogging strategy. And the last one being very, very simple, which is promotions, right? In fact, if you look at very successful content marketing teams, blogs are really the starting point. They will write blogs and then they will find ideas to repurpose the blogs in the form of tweets, in the form of social media graphics, so on and so forth, right? And promotions, of course, while we are doing the thought leadership, we don't want to talk and do a lot of our content, product plugs or services plugs with that. But at the same time, there's no harm talking about the product and how in a specific case your product can actually help your customers go past those challenges. Yeah, that's a quick little summary or literally a starter of why we should really blog. Now that's all that I have in the terms of content. Let me sort of go back to the demo.
In fact, I was also thinking that it's not just for brands. People write blogs to make money too, like as
Oh
individuals.
yes, absolutely, absolutely, right. All right, folks. I hope you can see my screen now, and let's start with what are the different blog capabilities that are there within Yarnit today, right? And if you look at the different capabilities that we have, of course, you can write all the different forms of listicle blogs. Listicle blogs are generally those 5 things, 7 things, and 10 things, essentially list of ideas, list of things, and this is something that a lot of marketers use to educate their customers. Two how-to articles. Again, this is a very interesting piece of blogging, which is eventually how do you help your customers understand or educate them about how to go about something. It could be how to use your product as well, or maybe insert something more educational for their need, for their own domains. Case study articles, look straightforward, talk about the customer success stories, what did you solve for them, how did you solve for them, how your customers are using your product. LinkedIn article is just a manifestation of the channel. So it's, think of that almost like a blog multiplied with a channel, which is very specific for LinkedIn. Apart from that, of course, you can literally start your journey by clicking on the blog, which is the mothership. Literally, you can write different kinds of blog by just clicking on them. And for some of those immediate needs, say you wrote something, you have the body of it, but you want to you're struggling to sort of find the right introduction, you want to sort of get a right conclusion for your blog. Suddenly you can use the blog intro, outro, and in certain cases where probably your starting point is an outline, right? Let me sort of get a quick outline of my blog, and then I will sort of work on it, iterate on it. Maybe you want to sort of go and quickly get an outline for your blog. So those are the different starting points. Let me start with a journey which is more of a classic blog. And so the topic that I'm choosing today is how to win customers with content. Right. So the moment you get this screen, the first thing that the topic is literally is the heading that I'm looking for, right? How to win customers with content, right? Now, there are certain things to keep in mind as you look at the screen. Of course, there is an active brand in the space. So while you are writing that, it is assuming that it is you are writing on behalf of Yarnit, or the system is writing on behalf of Yarnit as a brand. And of course, a lot of that gets into the brand personality setup. You can choose the language in which you want. Today, as of today, we support English, and of course, American English and the British English, and two, German as well. That's a new language introduction that we have added into the product. Now, as I write the content instruction, this is literally the core of what, how the system understands what we are trying to do, right? So I would certainly encourage all of you to spend more time to give enough and detailed instructions to the system so that it can generate relevant blogs for you, right? Just to sort of, it's almost like a cheating, but I did, sort of save this for our need, right? As in, for example, what I've done here, I have added some of the key points that I wanted to sort of do in this ad, and how you can also do it is, you know, let's say these are the different key points that I want to talk about, which is what is the importance of content in modern day marketing, role and impact of on prospective customers, what is the impact on existing customers, and then different strategies, right? So these are the different things that I wanted to sort of add into my blog. I can definitely talk about what are the, give more instructions to say, bring takeaways, how many paragraphs that I wanted to write. I can also certainly define who is the particular audience in here, right? Say, for example, uh, here I talk about target audience being content marketers and bloggers, right? Now, these are the different instructions that we are giving. So, what's the purpose of this? It will basically take all the instructions that I'm giving here into account while it is generating the outcome, right? Now, apart from that, anytime you are writing certain things and there are certain boilerplate instructions, standard instructions that you always follow, you can certainly save them, and all of those saved instructions will be available to you here on this window, right? And you use them directly, or just maybe you copy paste and bring certain portions of it. Now, apart from that, the second important thing is to decide on the length, right? What's the length of the blog that I'm looking for? Let's say, I want to generate a long blog. And these are certain nuances that actually uplifts the narrative. And I cannot impress enough about the importance of certain things, right? If you see the most popular tone that our customers use and have found, exaggerating, exceptional outcomes with this is conversational. And the whole reason of using conversational as a tonality is that it makes it much more real, almost like really you are conversing and talking to a friend or an audience there. The other interesting things which to keep in mind is basically the professional instructions or the power instructions. And then what we have done here is try to bring in different frameworks for you, which could be a hero's journey. It is literally telling a tale, taking through the hero's triumph and uh, and the journey that a hero typically takes from the resistance to the final triumph, right? Then there are other storytelling techniques like in medias res, which is nothing but in middle of a situation. So it starts the blog in a way that the protagonist or you are pretty much going through a crisis, right? Or it is painting a picture and then starts adding to the blog. Then there is another one, which is a false start, which is literally starting with an antithesis to the entire statement that I'm making, right? Basically, it will first talk about why content is not important. It will definitely not make you win customers, and then starts to disapprove the theory, right? So these are some of the interesting professional instructions that you can take into account and use while you're creating it. Maybe I'll start using in medias res for this one. On the tonality, let me talk about what are the popular tonalities that we see our customers use, right? Specifically when they're writing blogs. If you see, there are different tones and they're of course relevant for different content needs that Yarnit today supports. But within them, conversational is certainly the most go-to tonality that we have seen our customers use. Being formal, and we have seen customers use the formal tone when they are maybe writing a case study, right? Or the third one is your being casual, which is where it's probably in between the conversational and formal as a tonality, right? I'm going to sort of add that into the instruction. I'm going to add the in medias res as into the instruction. And what I'm going to do at this point, of course, I can do two things. I can generate the outline or I can generate the content directly. Now, if you see this, it has generated the entire piece of content with a heading, with few paragraphs in there, and also have taken into consideration the key points that I wanted it to mention and talk about, right? So typically, if you see the structure of any blog, it will start with an introduction. It will have the body, which is where majority of your key points will be covered, and then it will end with a conclusion to the entire summary, right? Now, what do I need to do as I see the first draft? Right, of course there are plenty of ways to get started. I like what I see here. I want to sort of add more to this content. I can certainly do that, right? All I need to do is press a button. So there are multiple ways to sort of edit this blog now. Now, for example, this is an additional piece of paragraph that it has written based on the first paragraph that I saw. Now, apart from that, if you see from the first generation, and I'll talk more about the copy editing and proofreading features that Yarnit provides today. But apart from the first generation, there are a couple of other things that Yarnit did. The first thing it is doing is that it is also finding relevant media that can actually accentuate your blog. And we are a big proponent and supporter, evangelist of visual storytelling, and we certainly encourage our customers to add more visuals. It just breaks the monotony of text, right? So if you are interested to sort of maybe after the introduction you want to sort of bring in a picture, all you need to do is find the relevant picture that the system has automatically suggested to you. And there are different pictures, either they're topical in nature or they're related to the category. So if you see this, in this it is also talking about marketing, etc. So there are images like that. It also probably showing an image where there is differentiation, right? And it is showing you those different images. Now at this point, let's say I like this particular image, I want to include that. All I need to do is this, just click on that button. It automatically sets in the image in here, right? The next piece that you would see is basically your ability to do more research on it. And there are different things that you will see here, right? So we work with different sources, whether they're gated sources coming from syndicated research sources, or it is high performing research articles on internet. So we do a lot of SERP research. We work with, like I said, syndicated market research firms to find the relevant research materials for you. Now, how do I leverage that? How do I use any of the suggestions that the system is throwing at me? So if you see, there are different blogs that are coming my way. I can certainly use a lot of this information. Now, there are two ways to sort of generally go about the research, right? Either I can go and look into these journals and find out what is that they are talking about, right? And did I miss out on certain things? Is there an interesting piece of statistics that I can also add, or maybe just use some of the statistics and code back into my original content that the system has generated? That is one part to it. The other part is basically your ability to add more credibility to the data. So all these different statistics, and there will be a lot of resources from statistics as well. So for example, if you see this, there are syndicated statistics coming your way. You can certainly bring them in to your blog, and of course we would encourage you to sort of code and give hyperlinks as you do that. The way to give hyperlinks to any of these things, say for example I just added, I'm just doing that for the sake of demo. Let's say I wanted to sort of add this interesting piece of statistics here, and in this I can sort of add a hyperlink by just clicking on this. So once you click on this link, it will also allow you to sort of add that particular source that you see here, right? Now, apart from that, in both images and research, if you do not find anything that is relevant, or maybe the system could not find the relevant things for you, of course you can go and do your independent research on this. You can add your keywords, find out relevant research nuggets, and the same goes for your images, right? Now let's go back to what can we do more on top of it, right? Now, of course, what you see here, there is an inline editing feature, which is at any point, at any sentence that you are writing, you want to summarize, simplify, shorten, or rewrite this entire text, you should be able to do all of this editing through Yarnit, right? In fact, if you like something that the system has suggested, a text, but you are not sure about this references, you want to sort of find a reference for this, you can also sort of search for references with this. What it takes that entire text as an input and tries to find out what are the other high performing articles which are also talking about the same thing. So you can certainly give more hyperlinks or backlinks with that, right? Now, apart from what you saw here, there is, of course, there's a way to fix grammar and spelling. A lot many times, our users and customers write content themselves. They would add, a new piece of text here, and they will just sort of do a quick proof check so that it is grammar correct and spell correct, right? Now that is what you can do with your inline feature. Now, apart from that, if you see there is a plus button into this. The plus button is hidden, which we are not very proud of, but at the same time, it is the most powerful feature when you see here. Generate with instructions is nothing but you can click on this and generate something new. A paragraph that you might have missed and you just figured out, this is an article that is already talking about. You can generate that, paragraph very, very quickly, right? Or you can sort of generate a new different content hook. Now, for example, if I'm on this, I want to sort of generate a different content hook. Now, why is content hook relevant? Look, as in majority of articles and blogs have to impress your customer or the audience within the first 5 seconds. And the best that they can do in the first 5 seconds is read the headline, read the intro. And for that, it has to be catchy. And that is why you will see a, a lot of folks playing with their headings. Now, these are certain interesting ways to create those compelling headings and intros. One, it could be an antithesis. Talk about something which is absolutely opposite to what you're going to say, right? Or generate an anecdote, right? So if you see, this is one of those antithesis kind of a statement. Or you want to sort of, instead of writing this, you want to generate a question, maybe a hook question could be more appealing, right? So there are different storytelling elements, right, that we have uh, brought in to just help you elevate your headings and introduction so that you get your audience hooked into this. There are plenty of different content hooks that you would see, and you can use pretty much all of them. Either they are used in the introduction or in the outro, which is the conclusion. You can create a tail question, and probably that is the starting point for your next blog, right? So you can sort of use content hooks for different, just sort of increase the engagement and bring in these different aspects into your narrative. The other interesting piece that you would see is your ability to generate a new section. Now, your ability to generate a new section depends on what I've written earlier and what I've written below, right? So it will be cognizant of that and generate a section apt based on what you've written before and after, right? The other interesting thing, which works at a block level or a section level, say this is an entire section that I'm working on. Now, on this, I want to sort of rewrite, shorten, simplify, summarize. I can do all of these operations from here itself. Or maybe I just want to sort of change the tonality and probably that particular paragraph, I can change the tone and generate a new paragraph. The moment you generate anything new, there are few options that you will get, right? Either you can directly add this to the editor, it will replace the text that you already have, right? Or you can sort of save it for later. And the moment you do that, I'll probably advise you to save it for later. And then once you've generated, add that back to your blog. And that way you save all the editing that you have done. And on the save, this is where you can access all of it. Now from here, you want to sort of copy it, add it back here. You should be able to do that. On the generation, you can certainly give your feedback to say whether you liked it or not. And if you want to generate more, you can just press on the regenerate button that appears here. Yeah. Now, apart from that, there are plenty of editing features or editorial features that are already available, whether it is about adding a list, heading, text. If you do look at all the inline editing feature, which kind of helps you bold the text, make it in italics, change the headings, right? Or maybe sort of use markers and inline quotes, etc. You should be able to do all of that through the editor itself. But what we have tried to do is make the editor intelligent enough so that you don't have to step outside and do any of these, proofreading activities or editing activities outside what Yarnit is already providing you. Now, in some cases, you may actually not like this blog at all, the first generation at all, and that's possible, right? And in those cases, what you can do, you can take a complete regeneration at this point. Maybe while you are adding the content instruction, you forgot a point, right? You want to sort of add that. So even at this point, let's say I want to sort of now make it more formal and long, I can do a complete new generation. So for an individual project that you would see, the editor allows you 3 new generations. So you should be able to generate 3 entirely new blogs with this, right? If you see this, this is a completely new blog now, right? With a different heading, with a different paragraphs and notions, right? Now, at this point, what you can also do is audit the content. Let me sort of go back to the previous version because I generally felt that that's a better version to have. So what I'm going to do here is to also look at this particular content and try to understand how is that my audience is going to react to this, right? Say, for example, what is the readability that they need? Now, what we see here, or what you see here, is an expert readability, and that doesn't mean good or bad either. It just tells you what is the proficiency of your readers, right? People who read and understand HBR should be able to understand the text and what you've written in here. At the same time, it is giving you some quick statistics around how many words, how much time people are going to spend on this particular article to read this entire blog. And the most important part is what is the potential impact of this blog on your audience. So what it is doing here, it is trying to do an A/B testing with the choice of words, with the type of statements that we have written in the blog, and trying to find out, what is the potential impact or the emotional impact that you would have, or this piece of article would have on your audience. And in this case, if you see, it is building trust, it is inspiring them, right? And it is also making them feel that you have, they feel much more superior and knowledgeable about this particular content at this point, right? Now, of course, what you can do here at this point, you can save it, you can download that. The moment you download, the download will give you the entire blog in the form of a Word doc. Yeah. So that's one part of the generation, right? This is one kind of blog that you saw. At the same time, I'm being cognizant of the time. I think we are top of the hour, but probably I'll take 5 more minutes to sort of talk about a few other things. What you saw is one kind of blog, right? At the same time, you can go in and write different kinds of blogs as well. Let me show you an how-to article, and this is something that I was writing it moments earlier for our own product, right? Say, for example, we just released an AI art feature, and I want our audience to know, uh, you know, how to use Yarnit Dreambrush. And if you see by default, everything will give you some of those directions, right? Um, Sorry, just give me a moment. Right. So in this, if you see, it is already adding a definition which it is aware of because of the brand kit. So I'm going to go with this definition, right? At the same, the instructions are sort of leading me to giving me certain instructions to add. Since I've already done it, sort of let me pull that up from here. Let's say, this is something that I wrote, and I'm going to use this. And all I'm doing is basically giving a quick introduction to the topic, talk about what are the different steps that I do. And this is literally in those many lines that I've talked about. And from here, what I can do is, of course, maybe I'll go with casual at this point. But let me sort of touch upon something that I did not earlier, right? As in, what are these advanced settings? Now, while I'm writing this blog, I can certainly refer certain material. So maybe it is a sales page or a landing page that you wanted to refer, or there's a document that you have already published. You want the system to refer or the blog to sort of learn from it, the AI to learn from it. You should be able to sort of attach a blog link URL for use, very SEO specific use cases where you would want to sort of touch upon a few keywords, important keywords. You can certainly add them in the included keywords. At the same time, if you do not like certain words to be added into your narrative, into the blog, you can give those exclusion keywords as well, right? Now, at this point, what I'm doing, I'm just generating. So this is one of those interesting use cases of how you can use Yarnit to also write how-to blogs to promote your own product and services, to educate your customers to understand how your product works, what it does and what it doesn't. Right. So if you see, this is how it has generated the blog. It has added, and all I had done is basically describe the image, but it is talking about what are the different image styles and camera angles that Yarnit provides, and it has gotten it almost to 95% accuracy. All I need to do, of course, is to sort of proof check and ensure that it has not picked up something which we do not provide, right? All right, that's pretty much it. I think last thing, as I had promised, a lot many times the whole promise of creating a good blog schedule, ensuring that you're balancing the quantity and quality, comes from the fact that you have a regular resource to generate ideas. And in this case, if you see, we have talked about content ideation in our previous webinar. There are different ways to generate ideas. Of course, news events are certainly there, but keywords is what we have generally seen our customers refer to a lot when they're blogging. So of course you can, let's say, add different keywords. I'm going to add email marketing uh, as a keyword. And what you would see the system do, it will generate different blog ideas based on that. And it will assume that Yarnit is going to write. So while it is doing all those steps, it's important to understand what do we do behind the scenes, right? We go to different search databases to find out what are the relevant ideas that are around this particular topic. What are people asking for, right? So we do the proxy SEO already for you to find relevant keywords, questions, and queries, and then come up with these ideas. And with every blog idea that it is suggesting to you, it is also giving you an excerpt of the content instruction, and you use them in your content creation as well. It also brings in the tags which are going along with that particular topic or the keyword that you have already added in here, right? Now, of course, if these 5 ideas do not meet the expectation that you're looking for, you can certainly generate more ideas with this. The other interesting piece that you would always see coming onto Yarnit is that how do you create a learning path, right? And I keep giving this bad example. Let's say you wrote an article on how to make strawberry smoothies, and in your blog you also talk about you should use blenders to create strawberry smoothie. As an audience, when I'm reading that blog, of course, blenders are on top of my mind now. And I'm trying to figure out what is the right blender to create a strawberry smoothie. And that is exactly what new recommendations are supposed to do, right? It will look at what you have written already and what is the next best thing your customers are looking for. The other way to do that is to go and look at references. Say, for example, you can refer to your previous blog as well. And I'm going to go and to our own blog, and let's say I'm going to pick up something that we wrote last, right? Say, there's a blog that Abhinav wrote, and I'm going to take the link of this and give that to Yarnit and suggest. So I think his blog was around LinkedIn networking and what we should do and what we should not. Let's find out what are the other relevant articles now or connected ideas, allied concepts. Now, my audience would likely to read once they read that particular article. So if you see, it is generating new ideas now, which is the art of personalization on networking, etc. That which are more connected ideas to what he had already written. So there's an interesting way to find out, you know, almost create a pathway or a series of blogs on a particular subject that you're writing on, right? All right, I'll take a quick pause and see if you have any questions. I had couple of takeaway slides, but I'm going to sort of leave that and probably share that with you, uh, you know, for your reference. But broadly, if you see certain takeaways that I can certainly talk about, and maybe we do that. While that's happening, please feel
So a couple of questions. Thank you, JD, for that fantastic demonstration. I think I got to know a lot of things that I did not know about blogging, listening to you. There are a couple of questions, and then we can come to
sure.
takeaways. The first question is around the images that we are adding,
Right,
right, to the
right,
blogs. So
right.
now this question is around copyright, saying, can
Yeah,
we download it separately and get the copyright license information? This
right.
need arises when we are uploading the blogs,
Yeah, yeah.
where you need an alt text and copyright information. So what's the whole deal with copyright?
Yeah, so
Copyright.
everything that you see, we're like we had repeated earlier as well. I think we are an enterprise partner to Getty Images, so every image is licensed content, right? And as I understand, some of that need may come across when you are creating a thumbnail for your blog, putting that on a website. Look, I think the best way to do that is to sort of go to freestyle, create a quick banner with the image, with a visual composition or without the visual composition, and download that particular thing. Right? There's no direct download of images which are actually available. It has to be in the form of a digital content, which is either a blog or a creative.
What I understand is that if you are using it for the blogs that are
Right.
generated through Yarnit,
Right.
you can use it. You don't need
Absolutely. And
alt text or copyright information for that.
right. But we certainly encourage just to sort of credit the user and the source, in this case, the photographer and the source, right? And it's always good to credit people, because of the work that they've done. So once you click on any image actually on Yarnet, right, it will give you the information about who the photographer or the creator was and where is it coming from. So it's only a good practice, but you since it's a licensed content, you don't have to do that.
Right. The other question is around. So this blog that you were generating was for Yarnit. How can I generate it for my brand?
Right, certainly. I think you can generate blogs for any brand. All you need to do is basically set up your brand styles, right? So once you see the brand information, you can generate different brand styles in there for your sub brands, for your overall product or company brand as well. And in that, with that in mind, then you can generate ideas, generate blogs, do all of that, right? At times, I would also suggest if you're writing something which is more universal, probably doesn't need a brand association, right? In those cases, you can actually uh, not use a brand. Maybe just leave that open, and
Yeah,
just
it's
let the
like a
system sort of,
freestyle writing,
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
the
yeah,
AI gives us. All right, there are, yeah, so I think we got just another question. Can we have our own brand voice in Yarnit? I think
absolutely,
JD answered
right,
that. We have to set up the brand personality as soon as you log in. So there are a bunch of other questions, but we'll respond to them individually since we're also cognizant of the time. So
sure.
JD, you can take it away with the takeaways.
Yeah, I think we have broadly spoken about all of them. And, like I said, blogging at times looks like a thought leadership, a lot of awareness. I would certainly encourage all of us to, do a proper balance of it, do something which is to educate you, increase your awareness uh, about your product, about your service that you're providing to your customer, but also use it for education and action, right? Talk about what's happening within your product, what is the latest and greatest, how should they use it, case studies, so on and so forth. one interesting piece, and there's a lot of discourse around, is AI generated content ethical? How will the SEO engines kind of, not uh, encourage AI generated content, but as long as they're fresh and relevant, right? Uh, the, you know, that is what SEO engines are looking for, right? Learning pathways, of course, are very important, and then the tonality and storytelling. Look, I cannot emphasize enough about what they do. They generally sort of append the whole creative engagement and the creative narrative. Sorry, narrative creativeness of whatever you're writing, right? And then heading, like there you will see a lot of content and experts talking about why heading is important. And I've talked enough during the blog, because those are you generally have 5 to 10 seconds to capture attention, right? So let's spend more time on getting the right heading into this. Visual storytelling, personally, I'm a big fan. It just sort of breaks the monotony of text and also helps us emote things better, right? Research, again, very, very critical element. We have talked enough about how to use research in this. And then, the readability part, which is the most often used feature in our product today, right? Where customers are coming in, putting their content and kind of checking that what is the likelihood and what's the emotion that they are trying, they're likely to generate in this content. Yeah, and the last thing is the most important, right? As in, we often talk about the quality of content, and which is paramount. You cannot compromise with the quality or the richness of the content, but at the same time, look at digital marketing today in the world of SEO, you have to create a lot more, right? You have to
True.
literally write every day, twice a day, thrice a day, so for the algorithms to know that you are there. Right. I think there's a question on full-fledged PowerPoints, PPTs. Yeah, sure. We would
Yeah,
love to sort of cover that as
yeah,
well.
that is a good segue for me to also talk about our upcoming webinars. So, folks, please do connect with us on our LinkedIn page, and you'll get information about where. So, we'll be doing these webinars continuously on all the different features. There are a lot of features on Yarnit, and we'll be doing different webinars on each of these features. So, do watch out for our invitations in your mailbox for say presentations or the whole design feature. We have new AI art generators. There'll be a webinar on that. We'll be holding a longer webinar very soon where we'll talk about all the different features of Yarnit. So uh, definitely we'll do a webinar on presentations and carousel posts and all the design features very soon.
Yep. Thank you once again for joining us and spending the time. We are already above the hour, much above the hour, I would say, but really appreciate your patience and thanks for listening in.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll be sharing the recording of this webinar with you. I see another question for the description suggestion by Ranjit. Ranjit, let's connect. Let's have a one-to-one demo, and we can take you through all these features that you're struggling with right now. All right, folks, have a good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are. And we'll speak to you very soon. Do watch out for our invitations in your mailbox. Thank you
Yep.
so much. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Have a good day. Bye.